We tried bringing our business from the summer to January when transfer window. It didn't work out. But all of this nonsense about EDU out and criticising and all this negative press around Arsenal right now, it's not needed. Right, so Arsenal have signed Jorginho, Trossard and Kivior in the January transfer window. Now let's talk on those transfers. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Kieran from Gunners Fan TV. It's going to be a bit of a late one today, as obviously I've missed out a lot on the transfer news over the last day or so because I've been at uni. But since I've obviously been away, Arsenal have signed Jorginho on deadline day, and obviously we already signed Trossard and Kivior. So I'm just going to go in for a quick transfer review. I think overall Arsenal have had quite a good window. I mean, I know there's been a lot of, well, I don't want to say hate, but a lot of negativity around Arsenal signing Jorginho. I've seen it split the fan base a lot, but for me personally, I think it's a decent move. He's got the experience that Arsenal need in midfield. He's not obviously a direct replacement for Partey in midfield role if he does get injured, but what he does bring to the team is experience. He's a very good passer on the ball. He's very good on possession, and he can break lines, and he's very progressive with his passes when he has the opportunity to. Obviously, there is flaws to his game, with him being very lackluster in the athletic department. He doesn't get around the pitch enough, which could be a problem. But I believe that the system and style he's coming into is only going to help him thrive and not hinder him. You can see under Tuchel, when Jorginho was at his best, having a system around him to allow him to dictate play and keep possession and block out teams from like coming onto Chelsea too much. You can see he was very good at that, and there's a reason why he got third in the rankings for Ballon d'Or. Obviously, personally, I don't agree that he ever deserved that high of an accolade, but he did win the Euros and the Champions League that year, so at the end of the day, who am I to argue with it? But I think overall, he's a very good signing. I was quite worried when I first looked at the signing, mainly because I didn't know how much he was going to cost, what his wages was going to be like, and I think every Arsenal fan has PTSD when it comes to signing players from Chelsea. But overall, I think you can't really complain. He cost £12 million or 10 million and then 2 million on add-ons, supposedly on about 120, 130 grand a week. And he's only signed for 18 months with an option to extend it for another year. As a January transfer window signing, I don't think you can argue with this one. Yes, there is the fact that we were aiming for Mudryk, Felix and Caicedo, but when you look at those signings, one, Atletico Madrid wanted a ridiculous amount of money for Felix. So most teams wasn't prepared to pay him that. I mean, look at the wages he's on right now at Chelsea. It's ridiculous. So I don't think Arsenal want to mess around with like massive wages again. We've been down that road. We've been burnt by that in the past. So to bring someone in on that massive high wages could cause problems in the long run. So I understand why we didn't go for Felix. If you can't get him like on a decent price from Atletico Madrid, then pass it up. With Mudryk, it was slightly different. I was pissed off to hear that we tried to put a Ballon d'Or clause in his contract. I know this has been done before, but it's ridiculous. With a team like Shakhtar Donetsk signing a player like Mudryk and getting that sort of money, then you can't really complain too much when you see that they wanted a lot more money than what Arsenal were offering. Obviously, with the whole signing of Anthony to Manchester United, they've looked at that and gone, well, we believe that Mudryk is worth around that much, so we want that same price as well. So straight away, it caused a lot of problems. And when you look at what Arsenal are trying to offer him on a weekly basis, and the fact that the way Arsenal tried to play around with a deal for Shakhtar Donetsk, it's not a surprise that they ended up just going with Chelsea. I was annoyed at the fact that Mudryk decided to go to Chelsea after all the twerking he did for Arsenal and saying how he wanted to play for the club. But at the end of the day, it happened. There's nothing we can do about it, so we need to move on. Now, the Moises Caicedo deal, I did a video on the channel beforehand, and I said I really liked him. But overall, I don't think you can really blame Arsenal for not being able to get this deal done. Brighton made it adamantly clear that they weren't willing to sell, and the only way they were actually going to sell him is for a ridiculous amount of money. And for 70 plus million, I don't think Caicedo's worth it. I think at most he's about 50, at a push £60 million player. And to go for that sort of money, yes, he would have helped us. He could have potentially helped us win the title. And he's got that age profile, and he is like a very good ball playing midfielder. But I don't think he would have been straight away fitted into this team and helped us win the league. There's a lot of he's only played for this one season. This is his breakthrough season, and yes, he's done really well, and yes, he could play for a bigger team. But to say that Arsenal missed out on Caicedo and lost the chance of going to win this league, or that we haven't capitalised it and then got him and paid massively over the odds, is quite frankly kind of ludicrous. If you're not going to accept the fact that Arsenal have not gone over the odds and paid for Caicedo, if we went and spent 90 to 100 million, and then it impacted what we can do in the summer transfer window and miss out on a few targets, a load of Arsenal fans were complaining anyway. So we did the right option. Caicedo's not gone to Chelsea. Okay, it was a dangerous play to make, but at the end of the day, he's still at Brighton, so Brighton has still held their word. And I think the way we stepped away from Brighton in that manner is only going to help us in the summer when we go back for him, if we do go back for him. Because after all, we respected the fact that they didn't want to sell him. We weren't trying to be an arsehole, and we weren't trying to push him too hard. So we respected him. We have a good relationship with Brighton. We brought Ben White from him. We bought the Trossard. So Mr. Bloom at Brighton will obviously respect the fact that Arsenal are pretty decent in the negotiations. So he's not going to turn around and say, well, no, you're an arsehole. I don't want anything to do with you, and then sell him to a rival. So it's only going to benefit us in the long run. Now, the signing of Trossard is a great signing in my opinion. I wanted a Trossard quite early on in the window. Even before the transfer window opened, I wanted Arsenal to sign Trossard, mainly because I think that he's a ready-made Premier League player. He's got the experience, he's played in big games, and he could fit into this system quite well, especially when it comes to teams that have a deep block. I think he works very well when he's got that much space and has that opportunity to do stuff. Kivior, I don't really know much about him, but I have spoken to a Spezia fan, and he's told me that he's quite a decent player and he has the potential to do a really good job. He can play both in defence and midfield, which I don't think we can play in midfield much, but if you look at Arteta's plan, he likes to buy players that are flexible in how many positions they can play and how much impact they can bring to the team. Now, obviously, last one is Jorginho. With what Jorginho has done over the last few years, I don't think that you can really blame Arteta for going in for him. You can see over the past, before he went to Chelsea, Arteta wanted to bring him to Man City. He's highly thought of by Arteta, and I can see what Arteta wants to do with Jorginho. Bringing a player like that with his skill set to be able to control games and make sure we get over the line in certain matches, and especially when teams have a deep block, like say for example Newcastle, we have a lot better chance of breaking the lines and controlling the play, and to be able to get through those difficult games. Now, obviously Partey is our best midfielder, and if Partey gets injured, it's going to be a lot harder for us to win the league. However, having Jorginho there, a decent backup for Thomas Partey, there is certain points where we can bring Partey off the pitch or not even start playing him at all, which is only going to benefit Arsenal in the long run, having someone like Partey who has less game time in his legs and have more chance of staying fit to the end of the season. So overall, I think it's been a decent window. In relation to what we was expecting to what we've got, it's not been great. It's been very disappointing, and I can see why a lot of Arsenal fans are annoyed with what we've got. that you have to understand that this is January transfer window. We're not spending money like Chelsea. We're not going and spreading the deals out to a ridiculous amount of time that could end up biting us back in the arse. It's a big risk. Okay, a lot of teams would love to spend like Chelsea, but then what they're doing, they're not spending all this money now. They split it up into yearly payments, how they can manage in the long run. Okay, but that has its positives, means they can buy more players in the short term, but over a long period of time, they're limited to how much they can spend. There's having a lot more in wages. They're stuck to a player for a lot longer period of time. I mean, Mudrik's on an 8.5-year deal. Enzo's on an 8.5-year deal. What happens if Mudrik gets a massive injury and he then can't play football anymore? Or he isn't the talent that everyone thought he would be, and he turns out not to be very good. Or Enzo Fernandez, same situation. Having a player on that loan for contract is very dangerous. I mean, we saw what happened when we had a player on massive wages with Ozil and Aubameyang. We couldn't get rid of him. So when a player's on massive wages for a long period of time, it's very difficult to move them out of the club. Now, obviously, Chelsea's players, they're a lot younger in profile, and most likely they will do decent. So it's not a massive risk in that respect. But what they're doing is a risk. You don't know if it's going to pay off. There's no other team has done this beforehand, so we don't know how it's going to be. This is completely new territory. It could do really well, but it could do really bad. So we have to wait and see. But how Arsenal are moving in the transfer market, it's a bit frustrating because obviously we just want to see our team compete in the transfer market and go and get the players we want. But just because Arsenal are not doing that now doesn't mean we're not going to do that in the future. It's better to at least be reasonable now so that when we do need to go out over the top, that we can guarantee we can secure those players. There's no point spending that extra 10, 20, 30 million in this window and then lose out on our main targets in the summer. We tried bringing our business from the summer to the January transfer window. It didn't work out. But all of this nonsense about EDU out and criticising and all this negative press around Arsenal right now, it's not needed. Okay, wait until the end of the season. Then you can, I'm right, I told you so. But just wait. Stop getting fucking impatient. At the end of the day, we have to support this club. All right, I know that there's a lot of fans and Arsenal fans that have PTSD, especially when it comes to the Kroenkes, and in the past we've been burnt. But this is a completely new season. All right, no one expected Arsenal to be where they are. Arteta and Edu have earned enough trust, at least for this season. I'm not saying at the end of the season that you have to suck it up and then not say anything. But take it a season by season. Don't just take it by the last 3 years, because no one expected Arsenal to be here. No one. So you can't say that, this was a plan in motion beforehand, because it's completely surprised everybody. So then you can't judge the past based on what's happening now. It's completely different. So give the guy a break. Stop all this fucking bullshit about criticising everybody and wanting people out, because it's never fucking worked. You've seen what happened at Chelsea and Manchester United, and when they're all trying to get people out of the club, it never works. These people own the club. So as much as we don't like it, and as much as we might hate it and think that this is our club because we're the fans, we don't own the fucking club. Okay, the Kroenkes do. They hire people in the place, and we have no say about it. We can try and be vocal, and we can try and make a stand, but unless everybody's going to boycott the club completely, stop going to games, stop buying merchandise, it's not going to affect them. So just get behind the club. If you can't get behind the club, be patient, wait and see. Okay? There's no need to take it overboard and go over the top and slate everybody at the club and just bring all this fucking negativity around the club right now in a great season so far, when we're at the most crucial point. Okay, we got played Man City twice to try and win this league. If we can't do that and the fans are starting to be divided, then it's only going to cause problems. You've seen what happened to Man City this season, when most of their fans are not behind the team. They got troubles in the dressing room, and the whole team has just gone downhill. All right, if you want to make that happen to Arsenal, then carry on doing what you're doing. But other than that, get behind the lads, get behind the team. We got some 3 new signings, which I think are smart signings. They fill gaps in this team that we knew we had, and we needed to sort it out. So that's my rant over. Okay, overall, I'm happy with this window. It's not been what I expected, but I've been pleasantly surprised by what we're doing. So let's see what happens against Everton on Saturday, and let's hope that Arsenal continue this great form and we go and win this league. Right, this is Gunner Fan TV out. If you please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. It goes a long way. And if you want more content like this, or if you got any ideas for certain content that you want to see, then by all means leave a comment. Let me know. I'll get back to your comment straight away. But other than that, thank you very much. Peace.